It's not looking good. Gamers Table Independent Edition. Did you read the book, Cooking with Craig, Magic with Chris, the game design series, Game On? If you want to help keep us on the air, you want to keep seeing more shows like this, hey, click on the link. It's going to be available all throughout the entire show. And go take a check out, see if maybe one of the perks is something that you'd be interested in. Anyone who has donated already, thank you very much, and your money is going to go towards keeping the shows on the air. Hello and welcome to the Gamers Table. It is Friday, and we're reviewing Portulus.
Portulus is a science fiction-themed two-person strategy game using hex-based movement. The goal of the game is to capture the opponent's resource bank using 2 types and 3 ranks of player pieces with unique moves and special map tiles.
So we've got a really nice-looking board. And the first thing you want to know is, okay, how do I set up all my pieces? Well, it's just a picture on the back of the board where they all go.
Yeah.
Same for both sides. The big issue I have with that is they're all crowded together.
They're actually kind of playing on an angle.
In pretty much half the board. There's sort of like the 3 rows of empty in the middle and everything else is full. And all your powerful pieces are near the back. So you have to move all your little pieces out of the way to get your big attackers to come forward. And the other guy's doing the same thing. We're both madly scrambling to try and get them out of the way. And unfortunately, the first guy that gets a big piece into the other guy's field usually wins the game. Your game board, set of color pieces for each player, and rules document. It's really short component vision.
Yeah.
I get a time for a thing to slide
Board.
back.
Circles.
It's important to know where the planets are.
Yeah.
And so the first thing you do is take your pieces and cover them all up so you can't see where the planets are anymore.
There is a slight shade variation or hue variation in the spaces, but
It should
still,
be more.
It should be greater because you're always moving your pieces off, and they're all so tightly placed together here. You end up moving, shuffling things about, or constantly picking things up to see where things are, and it's kind of annoying, but. Yeah, like Craig said, moving your pieces about is like, I got to move that one out of the way to get that one out, and then that one out of there. So you're having to move absolutely everything to get at one particular piece. It's really annoying.
It's just so crowded, you can't get a lot of your pieces out. Some of them have to stay here. Those pieces don't move. But there's a whole bunch of pieces back tucked in these corners that need to get out to attack that are blocked by all the other pieces. As a combat strategy goes, putting your big tough guys in the back protected. No, your big tough guys are designed to protect other people. They're not supposed to be in the back. They're your front lines. And they're not, which is kind of frustrating. And the other thing, let's talk about the rule book. It doesn't actually tell you how to play. It sort of assumes you move a piece, I move a piece, and that sort of thing. It's never explained.
Right.
And that makes it difficult. And we've invented 2 words, velo and pello, just to confuse you as near as we can tell, because there's no other reason you couldn't have said push and pull or tractor beam and repulsor beam. Tractor beam and repulsor beam would have made sense for the science fiction theme, and people wouldn't have been going, what the hell does that mean?
It's not just the crowded nature of the board there hindering stuff. You got your planets and stuff, and a lot of the ships and that can't go on those spaces, otherwise they get destroyed. So you're kind of wandering through little alleyways trying to clear space, but as soon as you clear space, you're in contact with the other players. And well, that's not bad though for a competitive game. You're supposed to go at each other. You don't want to just sit there and shuffle your pieces and then just dump everything at once. But it's just too constrictive, and once you start losing, if it's possible, you lost your big pieces and the other guy's got more than you, he's going to wipe you out. And he gets back in there. There's no way to shuffle your guys around. You're just kind of stuck where you are. There's no hopping over or moving about like that, like a knight in chess. So, yeah, he's just going to eat through your ranks like a parasite or something. It's just nasty. And then you're pretty much done by that point.
I mean, you might get lucky and able to knock one of him is, if your 3 is in the right position, to take his 3 out, but then your center 3 is gone, and here comes one of his other 3s, and now you are completely defenseless. And then some of the pieces can push, so maybe you can try and push him into a planet or pull him into a planet, but only if your other piece can move as well to drag him along, and because everything is so congested, you can't pull.
You're like,
can only pull,
guys, get out of the way. Come on, give me some elbow room.
There are several different types of ships. So there's the Dreadnought.
I was going to mention that.
Which moves one space in the light purple, or as many spaces in a straight line as it wants in the dark purple in deep space.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the freighters, the rank.
Well, that makes sense because that's where all the frickin' room is.
Well, yes, but then there's the freighters that sort of move like a knight because it goes forward one, and then it has to go take a left or a right turn, always. And then there's the probes that can go one space in there, two tiles out in deep space, and it has the push ability. And then there's the stations, they're the ones that sort of float in the inner, and they stay near the planets. And it's if you play the game a lot, you get to know it, but otherwise every type of piece has different movement, and often it has 2 different types of movement depending on where it is, which means you're, as you can see by how beat up this rulebook is, that you're constantly, how does this piece move? Okay, now how does that piece move? Because if I move in there, can that piece take, what about that piece? Can that piece take me? No, okay, good, I can make that move. It kind of slows the game down, but again, if you learn how the pieces move, that would be not too bad.
Passing the rulebook back and forth all the time if you new at it. It's just, it can get really frustrating that way, especially when there's so many pieces. Like, at least in chess, there's a limited number of pieces, even in crowns there too, you've got a limited number of pieces. Even that, but at least you got your sheet. You got your board.
The sheet that
you can look at everything right there. This would have been much better if it had like player aids or something, maybe possibly critics, maybe if you can squeeze it in on the side of the board, what each ship does, like its movement or something. I think it might be a little crowded on the board. Like a player aid, just one sheet. If it's a 2-player game, 2 sheets is, where's the... You can make that.
Yeah, we found the games were generally fairly quick because as soon as one guy gets his 3 in your sort of
camp
center
or whatever
area,
your area,
there's nothing you can do about it.
There's just no room to maneuver.
Yeah,
and most of the guys are just too weak to stop them
because the ranks are rank 1, rank 2, and rank 3, and equal or lower is always taken by higher. So if there's 2 pieces, a 2 can take another 2, but if there's a 3. The 2s can't touch it. The 1s can't touch it. So the 3 just walks in, die. Yeah. Unless you make a mistake and land on a planet.
And then again, too, there's, problems with the rulebook. There's some spelling mistakes and stuff in there. It's like, there are editors. You spell check and everything. Have someone proofread your documents before you read them. Not the players that helped you test the game because they already know how to play, or maybe you explained it to them. Get other people to help proofread your rule books.
You always need blind play tests by people who don't know how to play the game, so then you see where there's a mistake. Wrapping up for Portulus. The theme. Your 2 science fiction fleets attacking each other in a flat 2-dimensional formation, and you can never jump over any of your own pieces, so you're all bottlenecked yourself. No, theme's not doing so well. Easy to play. Oh, good Lord, no. You're always looking at this book to figure out how your pieces move and if this piece can take that piece and if this piece can even go to that space, because some spaces they can't go to. And fun to play? No, because again, your pieces are all bunched up. You can't get really cool action. You can't get really cool battles because all your good ships are tucked away in the corners. So sci-fi space battle chess variant, I had really high hopes for this going in, but after having played it, it plays, it all works together. It's just convoluted and overly complicated, and I'm going to give it a 5.
It looks nice. The components are good. There's really not a lot to that, but it's the rule book and the gameplay itself. Assuming we're playing, the way it's intended there, like based on the movement of the pieces and everything. That's the fault with a lot of the games we get is the rule books. There might, I know how you play with your play testers. You've explained everything in detail. Say, no, you can't do that and all that. It's the game creators that are telling them, like, you can't do that. But us sitting here reading the rule book fresh, and if we can't quite understand it or whatever, how are we playing this properly or not? That's the problem, and that's the first step, is reading the rule book of any game. You can't just jump in and say, okay, I know how to play it. No, you're not doing that right. You didn't read the rule book. So based on that and the actual gameplay as we understand it, I'm going to have to, it's certainly not going to get more than what Craig just gave it. I just really can't see myself ever wanting to play this again just because it's so limiting. I'm going to give it a 4.
Going to just point out a little bit more about the rule, because we're talking, I know we're harping on you about the rulebook, man, but this game could probably be good if you documented it properly. Now, when you open a rulebook, the very first thing you see, maybe the paragraph or two of flavor text and describing what the game is, but the next thing you want to know is how to set it up. Telling you how to set up the game. Setup. This is the most important part of any game. How you set it up is written as the last thing in miscellaneous notes. Setup. Miscellaneous notes. Setup.
That's not miscellaneous.
It's not miscellaneous. It's not a note. Setup is the most important thing. Yes, it's on the back, but until I've read through the entire manual, I don't know that. I need to know how to set up the pieces. You set up the pieces based on here. Oh, then you can set them up, and once they're set up, then when you start going through, I can see all the different ships and say, okay, this one moves like this one moves like that, and explain it.
One of the things that's important too, like when you're playing a game, you want to be able to visualize the pieces and stuff. So having it set up and ready to go when you're reading the rule book, you can see it. It's like, okay, that's that, and everything is all laid out here. It's not trying to go by a few odd pictures in the rule book. You've got it there. It's ready to play. Then you can read the rule book and look at the board and have a better understanding of what you're supposed to do. And yeah, that's not just artwork on the back. That's the diagram for the setup. So yeah, that, like Craig said, that's important. Get it done first.
Yeah, until we saw that little note in the very last thing in the book. It's like, well, how the hell do you set this up? How do you set this up? He's telling us the pieces. How do you set this up? Oh, the very last thing. The very last thing on the back of the back page. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it for this episode of the Gamers Table Independent Edition. Tune in next week where we review another game.
Yes, that's what we do.
I need your help. My brother. He's missing.
Nah, so tell it to the cops, dollface.
I have nowhere else to go.
So tell me about your brother.
He works at the university, doing research for several of the professors. Internet searches for strange happenings. Things of that sort.
Strange happenings? What kind of strange happenings?
He's heading to the apartment. Should I stop him?
What the hell is this thing?
Don't make me come back down here again, Carmichael. You need to back off.
Look, Rach, I've got a case. And I need your help. I'm being tailed by lurking strangers and warned off the case by angry cops.
He contacted her, just like you said he would.
Very well. Perhaps we should lend Mr. Carmichael some assistance ourselves.